Welcome back to FPL Spad, your best place to find FPL content for the 23-24 season. My name is Spad. Today, you're joining me for my transfer watch list for Game Week 14, in which we look at the 30 most transferred in players and put them in 6 categories of must-buys, great transfer, good transfer, transfers that are optional or lucrative, transfers that are gambles, and transfers we certainly need to avoid for the coming game week ahead. If you like my content, please like, subscribe to my channel for future FPL content if you're new around here. Now let's get on with this transfer watch list for Game Week 14. So for this watch list for Game Week 14, we look at the 30 most transferred in players, and we start at the bottom of that list. First up is Gibbs. In my opinion, he's the optional player to bring in. He's a good differential. Maybe he's got some good fixtures coming up. They've got a good game at home against Everton. Everton probably want to get something out of that game because they need to get out of the relegation zone after their 10-point deduction and their loss against United. But Nottingham Forest are decent at home and they could easily get a victory there as well. And Gibbs could play a major part in that. Next up, we have Van Dijk at 6.1 million. He will probably keep some clean sheets in the coming games ahead, but it's just too expensive for a defender. So I'm going to say avoid him. There's no need for him just for the clean sheet points. And maybe very low chance of him getting a goal in a set piece. So I would avoid him. Then we have Pau Torres, at 4.6 million. They had a good result the other day and he got a goal. Did you get a goal? Yeah, he got a goal. So in my opinion, it's a good optional striker defender to bring in. He could even be good, but Villa do have some hard games coming up after that in a few game weeks, so I'm going to put him in the optional category. Then we have Diaby. He came off at half-time. A lot of people had him, were disappointed. I don't think he's the best player to bring in as well at the moment, as they got hard fixtures coming up as well, and they got Europa, maybe some rotation going on as well. So I'm going to put him in the optional category as well. I wouldn't be bringing him in. Then we have Gabriel. In my opinion, he's a good transfer to bring in at 4.9 million. One of the cheapest Arsenal defenders you can get. So in my opinion, a good transfer to bring in. And a good game at home against Wolves. Then we have Elanga. I think I'll put him in optional as well. I'll put him below Gibbs because I think Gibbs is a better output. Will get a better output than Elanga. So I'll put him below Gibbs. Then we have Dalot. Now, United have kept a couple of clean sheets in the last few games. They're looking like they're back a little bit, but it was against easier opponents. So I wouldn't be personally bringing him in. Some people have been bringing him in. So I'm going to put him in the optional category, and I'm going to put him below. I'm going to put him in the lowest out of all of them because I'll not be looking to bring him in at all. Then we have Wisa. They've got some good games coming up, and he will be starting those games, him and Mbemo. So, in my opinion, a good transfer to bring in for a third striker. Onana, like I said, United have kept some clean sheets. They've got some hard games coming up. So, I'm going to put him in the optional category as well, just because he's kept a clean sheets and he might keep a few more, but highly doubt it against the teams that are coming up against them now. Plus, they got Champions League games, so he won't get that tired still. I just think I don't rate him that much, so I'm going to put him below Dalot. I don't rate him at all, so sorry. There we have Malenko. He was a good transfer last weekend. A lot of people brought him in. I can't remember what I put him as, but I don't think he's the best player to bring in at the moment. He was a differential. A lot of people did bring him in. I'm going to put him below Dalot. In between Dalot and Onana. I just don't think it's the best defender to bring in at the moment. Then we have Douglas Luiz. In my opinion, is a gamble. Actually, no, just straight out avoid. I know I took him out last game week. He made 7 points. But the games they've got coming up, this away game at Bournemouth, they might get a result there with maybe assist or penalty. But I just don't think we need to bring him in when there's got other choices at Villa. I've made the mistake of bringing him in and then taking him out a bit too early. But I could be wrong. But I'm going to avoid him for now. I'm not going to be looking to bring him back in, even though he scored 7 points. Like, I wasted a transfer on him. Then we have Pinnock. I think Pinnock's a good transfer to bring in as well. And I'm going to put him in just below Risa at 4.6 million. Not that much. Decent defender. Plays nearly every game. Nailed on starter. Luton at home. Could easily get a clean sheet there. They only let a goal in against Arsenal right at the end. Brentford are a solid team. No one goes there looking to get a result. Then we got Trent. In my opinion, Trent is a good transfer to bring in if you can afford him. If you have got extra cash lying around and you can bring him in, then do it. I would do it. I would have done it last weekend. I regret not doing it last weekend. Taking a minus hit and bringing him and Saka in. But I didn't bring him in. If I trying to figure out a way to bring him in this week, if I can. But in my opinion, he's a good transfer to bring in. Then we have Kudos. I'm going to put him at a great transfer at the moment with Bowen out. Kudos is most likely to give you the output that's required for your attacking returns from midfield at a cheap price of 6.6 million. I expect him to continue getting returns, especially the next game, Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace haven't looked the best at the moment. They did let in 3 goals the other day. So I think West Ham could get quite a few goals in their home game against Crystal Palace. Then we have Lascelles. In my opinion, Lascelles is a good transfer to bring in as well. I'm going to put him ahead of Pinnock because he's at 4.1 million and plays for a better team than Brentford. Newcastle is a better team than Brentford. That's facts. So I put him ahead of Pinnock. Then we have Pedro. In my opinion, Pedro's a gamble because I know Brighton do have injuries, so he's more nailed on to start. But even then, De Zerbi does like to rotate a bit. So in my opinion, he is a gamble to bring in. Then we have Watkins. Watkins is just slowly, he's not putting up crazy numbers, but he's still getting some returns nearly every game week. So in my opinion, he's a good transfer to bring in. And I'm going to put him right at the top. Because if you don't already have him, a lot of people do. And if you don't have him and he scores another goal, you're going to miss out on a lot of points. Then we have Nunes. In my opinion, he's a great transfer to bring in right now, ahead of Kudos as well. His price has gone up to 7.6. Home game against Fulham at home. Fulham do not have the best defensive record. And I expect Nunes to get a good return in this coming game weeks ahead. They've got some good fixtures coming up. So he's a great transfer to bring in. Then we have Salah. And I'm going to put him at must buy. He's always going to get returns. He's looking like he's on hot red form. He got an assist against Man City. Yeah, it was a standard pass, but still assist is an assist. Against Fulham at home, with his continuous streak at home of scoring goals, I expect him to get at least minimum 1 goal in that game. Maybe more, hopefully more, like easily. So he has to be a must buy in your team. You should already have him, or you need to figure out a way to get him into your team because he's a must. Same as the next man up, Haaland. Both these people have to be in your team because even against Liverpool, Haaland was not fully fit and he still got a goal because he is just a beast. As we said at the start of the FPL year, my man has to be in everyone's team. I took him out. Some people did, and now they're looking to bring him back in. There is a blank coming in game week 18, but that's just one player that I don't mind having in my team who I'll just bench in that game week if I need to. So, but still, you have to have him in your team. He's still at 14 million, so you haven't lost out any money on him where you would be like, oh, why didn't I get him earlier? Get him. Unlike Salah, who's gone up by 500,000. That's because everyone kept on bringing him in because it had to be done. Next up, we have Palmer. In my opinion, Palmer is a good transfer, and I'm going to put him ahead of Gabriel. Yeah, I'm going to put him ahead of Gabriel at 5.3 million. A player that's on penalties. They've got a decent game against Brighton at home, But then they got a good set of fixture list coming up after these games, the coming game weeks ahead. So he could come in very handy for those game weeks ahead. So you could easily bring him in now if you need to for your wild card. So he could be a good transfer to bring in. Next up, we have Sterling. He is in good form at the moment. Probably one of the bright spots at Chelsea. So I have to put him in the good transfer list because it is what it is. He's not getting great returns, but he will get some returns every other game. So he has to be put into the good transfer list. It's just what it is. If you can't hate on a hater, you know. So I'm gonna put him below Wisa because I think at 7 million it's not the best midfielder that price, but it's good enough. Then we have Isak. In my opinion, he's a gamble. Reason being, he can easily get injured. He doesn't have the best injury record. He misses a lot of games, and they've got Champions League game coming up against PSG, and anything can happen in that game. So, in my opinion, a gamble transfer to bring in. But when he plays, he gets you results. But a gamble because he can easily get injured at any point. Then we have Timiskas. In my opinion, a great transfer to bring in at 4.7 million. For a cheap defender, a Liverpool defender as well, who have got great fixture lists coming up where he's got a chance of keeping clean sheets and maybe getting some assists from corners and set pieces if Trent's not taking it. But definitely from corners, as he does take it from the left-hand side. Then we have Doku. Thing with Doku is, if he doesn't play in the Champions League games, he plays in the Premier League games. So it's easy peasy when it's like that. And I think Pep prefers Grealish in the Champions League games and prefers Doku in the Premier League games because I think Champions League games are more tactical games. So in the Premier League, it's more about just getting past the opponent as quick as possible, and which Doku is really good at. So I'm going to put him on a good transfer list this game week, and I'm going to put him, say, just above Sterling. Yeah, just above Sterling because not proven goal scorer. He had a decent game against Liverpool. He didn't get an assist or goal, but he still got all 3 bonus points if I remember correctly. So he's a good transfer to bring in. Then we have Saliba. I'm going to put him in a great transfer category. I'm going to put him at the bottom just because of his price. There's one player that's guaranteed to start for Arsenal in the back line. Gabriel could be rotated, but Saliba cannot. He's Arsenal's Van Dijk. He's their rock, and he is their main man who's going to start every game, and he's got a small probability of getting a goal in corners. But his thing is, he's most likely to get you clean sheets. And Arsenal have got a good defensive record so far this season. Then we have Saka, and I'm going to put him in a great transfer. No, I can't put him on great transfers because his numbers haven't been great. So, if his numbers were better, then yeah, I could put him in great. So I'm going to put him in good transfer. I know I want him. I should have had him last week in one game week. He's still got 8 points, even though he just got an assist. But I think he got the 2 bonus points. So, yeah. His price is the sticking point here. So I'm going to put him above, actually. Because of his proven track record, he has to go above Doku. Yeah. Because of his proven track record, I have to put him above Doku. It's just what it is. Then we have Shevchenko. I'm going to put him on a great transfer because he is more likely to get attacking returns for in the Arsenal defense than the other two. And he's cheaper than Saliba. So I have to put him higher than Saliba because he's got a chance of getting attacking returns as he plays the inverted CDM role for Arsenal. And with the games they got coming up, he's got a very good chance of getting some assists or even some goals because he does like taking shots from outside the box. Then we have Mbemo, a player that I had always raved on about. I wish I still had him. He's gone up to 7 million now. And I'm going to put him just above. No, I have to put him below Kudus because reason being, there's a blank week coming up for Brentford as well, just like Man City, because they're supposed to play each other. So that's the downside for him there. So that's the only reason why I'm going to put him below Kudus. So, yeah. But 7 million I took him out at 6.8 maybe or 6.7, I can't remember. But then his price has slowly gone up. Even though he hasn't had the best returns, people are just bringing him in as future planning, or maybe using the wild card and making a whole new team for the coming games ahead. And last off, we have Gordon. And I'm going to put him in the great transfer. I took him out when he got suspended, and I never brought him back in. Probably one of the major things I regret by not bringing him back in, because his price has shot up to 5.9 million. Still a bargain. So for that reason, he has to be above Kudos, because he's a bargain at 5.9 million for Newcastle, which is a better team than Kudos, than West Ham, and Brentford. So he has to be above them. So in my opinion, Gordon is a great transfer to bring in. Now let's quickly review this transfer watch list. In my opinion, the two top players that you must have in your team somehow, because they've got decent games coming up, and with Man City, who just drew a game at home for the first time in 2023, will want to win at home straight away. They will not want to waste time. And with Tottenham, with the injuries they have, I expect Haaland to get some numbers. Same as Salah playing against Fulham. I expect him to put up some serious numbers in this game week ahead. It's going to be a hard choice or choose your captain, but I'll most likely will be steering towards Salah, as Fulham is the easier game than Tottenham. But Tottenham will play the attacking way, so that is one thing to look at. Like, Tottenham will carry on attacking how the Ange ball, whatever you call it, that way. And Fulham would hold a deep line block. So it'll be harder for Salah to actually get the goals that he requires. So he's more likely to get a goal from a penalty, but he's very likely to get some assists in those games. And assists for strikers and midfielders, exactly the same. So that's how we used to look at him. And then the great transfers, Nunez is a great transfer to bring in, because I think he's a nailed-on starter for now for Liverpool. He's been for a while. Only time he wasn't, where people were guessing if he's going to start, is when he's coming back from international break. Gordon, great transfer to bring in. Kudos, great. Not the best, but still good enough to bring in with the current fixture list that West Ham have. That is the sticking point of that thing. And Bowen's out as well. We don't know how long for yet, but Kudos will have to step up and produce some numbers for West Ham if they want to get further up the table in the Premier League. Then Mbeumo, good fixtures coming up for the next couple of game weeks until game week 18 with their blank. So watch out for that, unless you've already got plans to take him out after that. Timoskas, Shenko, and Saliba, all three great defenders. Cheap option, you could go for Timoskas. They've got some good games coming up for Liverpool. Great transfer to bring in my opinion. And Shevchenko, he's got a great chance of getting some attacking returns against the teams that they're coming up against, in my opinion, which are a lot easier compared to the other teams around. So those are my great transfers to bring in. And if you look at any other transfers, the good transfers to bring in, they're all right, but not great. They're good. But they could be better in other game weeks ahead. But for now, they're good. So, but I'll definitely avoid Van Dijk and Luiz. Don't look to bring them in. Just don't. And don't. Like, you can gamble with Isak, maybe close to transfer deadline. I don't expect his price to go up, but maybe you got a player that's going down in price and you need to do something quicker. Hopefully, you can hold out towards the transfer deadline. And I'm going to try to do that as long as I can, unless I see some change in the pricing stats. So, check that out. And Pedro, a gamble as well. Rotation risk. So, that's it for my transfer watch list for Game Week 14. I hope you enjoyed and found it interesting and got some tips on it for your transfers for the coming game week ahead. If you want to write a comment on my video, need some help with your transfers, go ahead, leave a comment. I'll respond as soon as I see it. Or if you think I haven't got this watch list right and I should have players in different categories, please let me know about it so we can discuss it further. Thank you again for watching my videos. Please like and subscribe to my channel for future FPL content. Please share with your friends and family and help me hit 100 subscribers by the end of December. We will much greatly appreciate it. Thank you again for watching me. See you again next time. See ya.